Did you go to college after high school? Did you choose to get married? Did you buy a house? Did you travel? Go out of the country? Every one of those choices made you who you are today, determined the opportunities you would have, and even created the beliefs that you believe are yours. The truth is that we choose our path in life based on the daily decisions that we make. And some of those change the course of our life forever, and others can be reversed. So today we're going to talk about packing your stories with choices that you make as the author and that the characters make within the story.
You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world.
Welcome to the Julia Monte channel. If we're just meeting, I am Julia Monte. I'm a women's fiction author and I'm here on Fridays to give you some writing tips. And today we are going to talk about writer choices, character choices. So your stories have to have constant choices where the character is making constant choices and you're making constant choices about the path of your story, right? The plot of your story. Some of you will make those decisions as you're plotting the story. So you will outline the different things. And at that point, you will make some choices, make some decisions on what should happen, what shouldn't happen, where the plot twist should occur and all of that. Some of you will make those choices as you are writing, right? So as you're developing your story, you will think of, oh, well, this character needs to make a new decision here, right? They're at a point where they need to make a decision. But either way, your story has to be full of these type of decisions and choices that you and the character are making. And these choices should not be made randomly. Okay, so you should think about the choices that your characters are making or the choices that you're making for your story. If you think of anything that any story that an author or a writer is creating, those things that are happening, the choices that the characters are making, are based on the plot, right? They're based on what has come before. They're based on where that character is going. So they're not random things that these people are making, that these characters are making. And even you as a writer are making choices for a specific reason. I've been reading a lot about AI and all the, how we're in deep trouble because AI is taking over everything, right? And they shouldn't be taking over everything, and how we're going to be put in a position where we can't even control what they're doing, that we're not really smart enough to even understand what they're doing and what they're creating. So, kind of weird. But anyhow, so made me think about, AI, Terminator, and all of that, right? But so let's talk about that movie for a second. I think everybody has seen Terminator, at least the first one. And so, what has happened here? Like, why did the writers of that movie choose Sarah Connor? Like, why was she the way she was? Well, they made a very specific choice to choose this woman who was sort of meek at the beginning, right? So first one, she's very meek, she's very vulnerable, she's alone. They chose, so, but she had some tendencies, right? Like when it came down to it, she was a fighter, she would fight, but she was deathly afraid. She wasn't prepared for anything like this. And so they purposely, right? They purposely made the choice of choosing this woman. Why? Well, she had a lot of, she had growth potential, right? She had a lot of room to grow from where she was to where she would eventually be, who she would eventually become. She was also alone, right? She wasn't married. She had a lot of reasons why the writers would say this is the perfect character, and made the choice to make her that way, to write her that way. And this is important because the reader needs to perceive your character in a certain way. We need to perceive her and kind of feel sorry for her, right? Like her whole life is about to change here. She's being chased by this crazy, Terminator. She has no idea. She has no idea who this other guy, who the guy is that's coming to say that, she's going to produce the man of the future who's going to fight against all these machines, right? It's just so baffling to her because she's so out of it. Now, if they had chosen like somebody else, let's say, that Sarah Connor had been an executive or had been part of the whole AI development, it would have been completely different. because the character wouldn't have had that same type of growth potential. She would have had a different mentality, right? So you need to be careful. You need to be conscious of the type of character that you're creating and what your goal is for that character. So looking into the future and saying, okay, who is this character going to become, and how does she need to be, or he need to be, at the beginning of my story. I do this with all my stories. I did it just recently with Let Us Begin. I knew that my character, who is an immigrant searching for the American dream, he had a lot of choices to make. And every time he made a choice, it would change, it would determine his future, right? So he's offered an opportunity to do something, and he wants to be successful. He wants to achieve the American dream. He wants to, have a happy life. Is he going to accept this opportunity that is presented to him? Some opportunities were good, some opportunities were not good. He needs to, some opportunities were going to lead him towards a quicker path of making money and being successful. Others were going to be a slower path. Now, the decisions that your character makes, right? I, as the writer, have to provide the opportunities. The character has to choose. So depending on what this character chooses, it's going to create his personality. It's going to show or determine, right? Or it's going to expose his personality to the reader. The reader is going to see what kind of person he is based on what he does. Is he choosing like the really easy, quick way of making money so that he can be successful fast, even if it's not the best choice or it might not be the ethical choice? Or is he, no, I'm going to follow this path because I am an upstanding person and I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do, right? So what kind of character is he? By giving him choices, by presenting choices to him, he gets to make those choices, and the reader gets to see who he is, gets to learn more about him. I do have one turning point decision where it is going to determine based on the decision he makes. So he's offered an opportunity to do something that is not ethical, and it shows, right? Like, okay, he's and it's not that, and it's not, and you can't make it easy either, right? So it's not that if he's a bad guy, so he's going to choose the bad, or he's a good guy, he's going to choose the good, right? But we are all good and bad, and sometimes our circumstances really determine our choices or impact our choices, and it's not easy. So sometimes we might be a good person, but because of the circumstances, we need to feed our children, we need to do something, we might make a decision that we normally wouldn't make, right? So don't make it easy for your character. If you make it easy, like, okay, well, your character is good and he's always going to make the good decision, right? He's always going to always make the good choice. Well, that doesn't make your story very compelling, or you know what the character is going to do, because this is the kind of character he is. But sometimes when you make it difficult for the character, like, okay, well, you could do the good thing, but if you do the good thing, maybe your family suffers. Or you could do the bad thing, but you do the bad thing, right? And then you suffer or something, right? So what happens? People suffer no matter what, right? So there's no real good choice. Those are the good choices for us. Those are the good type of decisions for your characters to make, because it really impacts who they are becoming, and it really helps you to develop the person. So we want the complications, right? So the first thing is when you're trying to decide on decisions and choices, you want to complicate your character's life. Some people have a hard time with that. Like, some writers have a hard time complicating the character's life, but you need to do that. How do we do that? So the first way is by, like what I just said, a dilemma, right? So I created a dilemma for my character. He has to make a choice. I don't want to go into it, but he has a dilemma, right? He has a choice to make where no matter what, he's going to lose something, right? So he either loses, he's going to lose everything one way or another. He's either going to lose financially, he's going to lose his character, part of his who he is. So he has to make a decision that is not good. Like, there is no really great choice. So a dilemma is one way that a character can make a choice. The second way that a character needs to make a decision, needs to make a choice, is what might be called like don't get involved kind of choice, right? So something is happening. Your character chooses not to get involved. So could get involved, could not get involved. So depending on the character. And I remember watching the television show The Closer with Kira Sedgwick, probably mispronouncing that, but She played a detective. Her name was Brenda, and there's a scene very close to the end of the series where she's driving a suspect back to his neighborhood. So he should have gone to jail. He killed, I think, tortured a grandfather and a child. Should have gone to jail, but he makes some kind of plea with her department, and she's really angry about this. Like, she thinks this guy, I caught this guy, he belongs in jail, and now because he made this plea, he's going to get out, and it's just not right, right? So she's very upset. She's very angry. She drives him, though. I think notifies the gang members, some gang members, rival gang members, that he's going to be there. I can't remember if she notifies him or not, because that takes more action. Maybe she just knew that they were going to be there. It's been a while, so I don't remember exactly. But anyhow, she drops this guy, this kid, off in the neighborhood, and the gang members are waiting for him. And she sees them, and he sees them, and he's like, and she's like, no, you're getting out. You're done. I was supposed to deliver you, and I'm delivering you, and you're out of here. Now, she doesn't get involved, right? She could get involved. She could say, okay, I'm just going to drive him around the corner. I'm going to drop him off somewhere else because I know that this isn't going to go good. Like, they're waiting for him, right? They're going to attack him. They're going to hurt him. They're going to kill him. But she chooses not to get involved and to just do her job. She's dropping him off, right? Knowing what was going to happen. And what happens is what we all know as we're watching, right? That this guy is going to get killed. And it's horrible. She's a cop, right? She's not supposed to be doing this. This is not what her job. She was not hired to administer justice, right? So she's feeling that she's administering justice, where really what she's doing is she's participating in this crime. It was a really, really good scene, and I remember it, right, years later, because it made this impact of like, oh my gosh, how could she do that, right? But anytime, that's another way that you can make a character make a choice. And really, it's almost like not making a choice or not getting involved when they know they should do something better. They either choose not to, or they choose to actually get involved. So, decision. Pausing for a second to let you know about a couple of courses that I've created. If you're a beginning writer and you want some help with your book, I just want to let you know that I do have a basic course on how to write, and I'm going to post it below. And if you're not a beginning writer, but you are more established and you're ready to publish your work, you have your novel written, I also have a publishing course, and I will also post it below. So take a look at it. Maybe they'll be just what you're looking for. All right, let's go back to the video now. Then there's the decision of both choices leading to the exact same result. So you're probably thinking, well, if both choices lead to the same result, then there's really no choice. But there is. So even though both choices lead to the same result, one choice is better. Okay, so one choice, I'll give you another example from a very, very old movie in the 1980s. Okay, it was called The Windy City. And so this guy is in love with this woman, but they're broken up because the things just they weren't working out, but he's still totally in love with this woman. She starts dating somebody else, and she's going to get married. He tells her, come on, don't marry this guy. It's supposed to be us. But so much time has gone. She's already supposed to get married like the following day. So she's like, no, I'm going to get married, and it's just over between us, and I'm really sorry, and just go on with your life and all of that, right? But so he thinks, the day that she's getting married, all his buddies, he's playing football with his buddies and everything. Well, anyhow, he decides, like, I can't let her get married. I have to try to stop her. So he gets in his car. He's like totally filthy because he's been playing football. And he's in Chicago. He's driving his car. He's going up a bridge, and the drawbridge starts to go up. And so he's not going to be able to cross. If he doesn't cross, he's not going to get to the church on time. So he gets out of his car, and he's got a decision to make. Like, what do I do? Well, first of all, he had made the decision to go chase after her. So now he's like stuck. What am I going to do? I still need to get to the church. So he decides he's going to run for it. He's just going to run and try to make it across the bridge, right? So he runs as hard as he can. He jumps, and he lands in the river. He does not make it all the way across. Gets out of the river and keeps running, gets to the church, it's over, she's married, so he runs to the reception hall to watch her take her first dance with this guy. And it's, super sad. So whatever he did, right, whether he chased after her, and actually, even if he made it to the church, she was going to get married, right? Or if he did nothing, if he didn't chase after her, if he didn't go after this, she would have got married. So he had kind of lost her because she told him, no, it's over. So why do this? Like, no matter what you do, whether you chase after her, you don't chase after her, she's going to get married. You've lost. I guess there could have been a small chance that he could have changed her mind as he runs into the church filthy and makes a crazy fool of himself. I guess maybe she could have changed her mind, but it just didn't appear like that was going to happen. So it didn't matter what he did, she was going to get married. So why though was this the better choice for the movie? Like, why did they do this? Well, dramatic effect, of course, but it builds that character, right? It makes him into a more heroic character. He just gave it his all. Too late. He should have given it his all before the day she's getting married, obviously, right? But it's the more heroic decision, the more heroic choice to do this and give it his all. And then he's, disappointed, of course, because he lost her, and he kind of knew that he had. He just wanted to give her that one more chance. Okay, so both decisions lead to the same result, but one tends to be a little bit better for some reason, either emotionally, again, because of the heroic part of it, because of just the human spirit, because one shows more faith, whatever you decide, like, why will they make that choice? If both choices are the same, why will they choose one over the other? And not all choices have to be huge. Okay, so they don't have to be earth-shattering choices. Your character is constantly making choices throughout the novel, but but sometimes a choice that a character makes doesn't seem huge, but it is, right? So maybe they decide to take a walk instead of take a car. Maybe they decide to take a car instead of a walk, and something happens along the way that impacts the story later, right? Maybe there's an accident. Maybe they missed an accident where they were supposed to be killed. Well, that might be a major choice, but they don't know that it was a major choice. But either way, there's choices that characters make that will sometimes impact the story later. Or sometimes they're just small. I mean, everything that happens in a story needs to be important, right? So you're not just writing like they decided to eat toast instead of this, because that makes no difference. But everything that is in the story should matter for a reason. It shouldn't just be tossed in there. But some choices are just small. They're little things that they decide, and then another little thing they decide that all leads to something bigger sometimes. So I'll give you 3 ways then to have your characters make choices. Either have them have a dilemma for them, right? So where almost both choices tend to be bad, but they make the best choice. Well, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they make the worst choice, but there's a dilemma where they need to solve it by making a choice. There's the choice of, do I get involved? Do I not get involved, right? Which decision do I make, and how does that impact my life? And then there's the choice that both choices are going to lead to the same result, but they choose one anyways, and you as the author need to know why they choose that. So the reason we want to do all this is because we want the readers to keep turning pages, right? The more choices the characters are making, the more the plot is moving forward or meandering or going, plot twist, the better it is for the reader, the more the reader is going to like it. Plus, it reflects real life, right? So we are constantly making choices in real life. We're always making a decision of what we're going to do one way or another. Some, again, have huge impact in our life. Some smaller, but they all, but we're constantly making decisions, right? We're all constantly deciding how we're going to go through our day. So remember that the more decisions your character makes, the more interesting your story is going to be, the more the reader's going to like your story. All right, so go out there, create a story with many, many decisions and choices. I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, please hit that like button and hit that notification bell so that you will be notified next week when my next video goes up, and share this with your friends who are writers. Thank you. Bye-bye.